Hey everybody. See if anybody wants to come on tonight. Kind of a slow evening. I'll give it a few seconds here to see if anybody's going to join me. I think everybody has been doing streams today, but it's been kind of a quiet day. Last night was pretty rocking between DOA and Nora. Aaron came on for a while on DOA's stream. So let's see how many we can get on this evening. It's just kind of a quiet Saturday evening. Just take a peek at how everybody else is doing tonight. Hey, A girl, how are you doing tonight? Good evening. Hi, Susie. Hey, from Oklahoma. Susie, I've been watching you, and I just noticed today that I got unsubscribed from you for some reason. So I went back and clicked back on it. I love listening to you. Oh, no worries, A girl. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy having a process. We just got off Nora's stream. I think a couple of us were on there, and boy, somebody put in a lot of work on that document. I'm not too sure if I'd be able to do that type of process. But oh, and no problem, Susie. I really enjoy your channel. I love your pink curtains that you have, and I was really I liked how you addressed those comments of people saying negative things. It's amazing what people will come in and they'll say in the comments that they would never, ever in a million years say to your face. But it's almost like they feel entitled to say something mean and negative or oppositional on your channel. It's like somebody coming into your house, sitting on your furniture and saying, it looks like crap in here. Well, it's just amazing. But I'm glad that you addressed it. There's been a huge influx of trolls lately. I can't believe how many trolls there've been. Yeah. And I think the more channels, it's hard to believe there's 205 channels now. Yeah, I think it is too. In some respect, I'm I can just vision that Osa and that they have like a whole room just full of younger people, or even like what Tori used to do, getting on and having different identities where they're getting on and they're just making people starting to battle each other. And sorry, I've got the heating pad going on my stomach today. So, but yeah, just I yep, I can't imagine that's their job in the Sea Org. And then you just have a shit ton of trolls to begin with. Just people that they have nothing better to do. Do you get a lot of trolls, Susie? Egger, it is. Cyberbullying is a real thing. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate the recognition. It does give me something to do, though. I'm working on a really big project right now that I'm just really excited about. And I can't wait to sink my teeth more into it. I can't really give it up yet, but definitely working on a bigger project. I know one of the things, yeah, the music warfare, it definitely is on different levels. April, do you have a channel? Thank you. You're welcome, Kara. Thank you for saying that. But music warfare is a thing, and they of course play the. Sorry, the dog's drinking in the other room. And she's quite noisy. But they play the songs so that way they get copyright strikes. But also, it's just loud and obnoxious. Oh, okay. Get up here, big dog. I see you. So, yeah, one of the things, Poe and I had done that live the other night about thinking outside the box. And one of the things I forgot to include in that for going to your legislative branch or your state is we've had an idea for coming up with legislation. And one of the laws, which I was talking to Liz Ferris about, was an Obolensky law. And coming up, and this is just an idea. It's in the beginning. I'm probably not going to be able to work on it. This is something that those in California are going to be able to work on. But the law would read something to the effect of, if you've been in as a volunteer minister in an organization, a church, Scientology, um, for at least 5 years, that if you decide to leave or if they kick you out, that they have to provide you with workforce development skills, either for maybe a trade school or college, even just a local college, so that way you can get your foot back in the door, or even internship. Because when you've been out of the workforce for 5 years and you've just done volunteer work, that's not but you take a big hit on your resume and trying to get back into the workforce. And I know practically everybody coming out of the Sea Org or the staff can attest to that. Now the staff, they have 2.5 or 5 year contracts that they sign, but that's still, if it's not considered a career, 5 years, you can put that down. But when you're a volunteer minister, it's hard to do. But yeah, that would be a great little law. So I don't know how many of you have ever seen, hey, Pup Groomer, Serge Obolensky's story. I had heard about it. I heard Liz talk about it, but I actually watched it the other night. That's pretty crazy, because I guess he was playing around when he was a kid, 14, 15 years old, with the firecrackers. The firecrackers blew his hands off, and then a piece of plastic hit him in one of his eyes, so he has a false eye. But he has 2 hands, so now he just has hooks. But because he now had a disability, and of course they only have the able helping the able, people with disabilities are degenerate beings. They kicked him out of the Sea Org and put him on the streets with $500. Now his mom was still in the Sea Org, and she went against the disconnection policy and helped him get on Social Security disability. So at least he had that. A girl is asking, I thought contracts signed under duress were null. Why is Scientology's contracts upheld in the court? Anywhere else, it would be coerced in duress. Well, you have to prove coercion and duress. And I think probably people have looked into that, but they probably do what they're doing to everybody else is they yeah, a child can't consent anyways to begin with, but I think they have the parents sign for the children also. And then once they're 18, they have them re-sign everything. That's what I was finding in all the research that I've done and everybody that I've asked. Yeah, 6 years old. I can't even imagine. 6 years old signing an agreement. Well, the kicker is that you have 4 things you sign when you go in for services. And Jeffrey Augustine has that on his documents. But it's that you're not going to sue, that you hold them harmless. If anything happens, then they can take you out of the hospital and you won't do any psychiatric services. I think those are the 4 agreements. And when you're 6 years old, you can't sign those agreements. That's not even feasible. That's just ludicrous. So how do you go about holding anybody responsible for what they signed when they were 6 years old? I think Laura Anderson said she signed when she was about that age too. That's just ridiculous. But they also have the parents sign. So the parents sign for them. But sometimes I don't get that either because it's like I think Laura's dad wasn't available, but her mom was there and she could sign. And I think Liz's mom, but Serge's mom and dad weren't. They weren't around. Yeah, I don't get it. So maybe they used whomever they were living with, like when they were talking about if the parent goes into the Sea Org and they have children, then they off the children into different households. And so whoever becomes the guardian would sign for the child. So back to Serge. So she helped him get a Social Security disability. And so he lived, I think, from when he was 16 or 17 until he was in his early 20s, to where his Social Security disability automatically paid for his housing, his rent every month. And then he, for some reason, went homeless, either didn't get paid or something happened, and he ended up on the streets. It's an amazing story. It was on, it's a YouTube video, and Mark and Claire Headley had done a video on it, and it shows them even where they have, yeah, it was really a great video. And then where he was without his hands and he's homeless and he's sleeping on the streets and he had like dreadlocks. Not that there's anything wrong with dreadlocks, but it was because he was so unkempt. And he was saying that he would just cry some nights because he was so cold. And yeah, just amazing. And then a social worker happened to see him and called his name one day, and he thought it was the cops, so he ran away. But you kinda wonder why. I mean, I guess there's just a lot of homeless, unhoused people. Yeah, pretty amazing story. And then once the Aftermath Foundation started working with him, they helped him get his hooks, they helped him get a new eye, they helped him, get his Social Security back up and running to where he had housing, and then he got a rep payee, so somebody to take care of his finances for him. And I remember when my sister had, cerebral palsy. She's deceased now, but she had cerebral palsy, and I used to fight with them because they always wanted to have a rep payee for her, but she just didn't have the, um, cognizance. And, I mean, she knew how to take care of her own checkbook and everything, but unfortunately, she knew how to spend all the money too. So things didn't get paid when they were supposed to get paid. So having a rep payee was was a lifesaver for her, and it was for him too. So now I think he even started going to school, got his high school diploma or GED, just having a great life. Now, somebody like that, I really think we should have a law named after him, saying that if you're going to kick me out on the street, you better give me more than 500 bucks and tell me ciao. Yeah. Yeah, and then Dan Watson and his significant other took him for his birthday dinner the other night. That was pretty cool to see. And then who was what? Oh, it was a Jessica Palmadessa last night, and then Audit LA the night before when they were over at the Big Blue and they were talking to Jason and Odo and talking to them saying, "Hey, come on, get out. I'll help you. Come on. We'll do whatever it takes to get you out." You know, if they could only see and believe truly what life could be like outside the organization, outside of riding a bike and making false reports and try to clear the planet by being disingenuous, if they could see what a life they could truly have. Yeah, I saw that too. And then she also did that to uh, the young man that's always out there. Simon? Is that his name? Solomon. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, A girl. Yeah, and what struck me last night is they didn't have LAPD as their guards hired last night. And we're seeing that more and more. So that's an indication. Yeah, I know. She was way beyond her control of being a hired guard. Yep. But it wasn't the LAPD. They've been hiring as part of their permits. They've been hiring the LAPD every single every single time. And for the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing um, that it's been a third party security company doing it. So LAPD must be backing off on it, which that's actually that's actually a good thing. Yeah, and then didn't Solomon, he wanted the PPA and they wouldn't take the PPA. You know, all of a sudden now they're being finicky. Yeah, and she's definitely not LAPD. Who was it that was calling her, oh, with the eyelashes? Barney Eyelash. Yep, they only did a report, no PPA, but all the other PPAs certainly were taken. So either one, the the cops, the officers are now being told that they have to use their discernment, which would be a good thing as long as they're doing that discernment on both sides. You, there was a man guard on the other end that said he was LAPD. I didn't see that. I saw that LAPD ended up being called in. Huh, I'll have to rewatch that. Was that on Jessica's stream that you saw that? Or was that on Audits? Because on Audit, yeah, equal enforcement is the key. Yeah, I'm optimistically hopeful that that's what it means. Oh yeah, so the night before it was Audit, because when Audit was there, there were police there. Yeah, you're right. You're correct. But last night they weren't. It was a third party security. Barney Eyelash Barney. She was a third party. TPA. I love watching Audit. She just cracks me the hell up when she's there. And then, I mean, you know darn well in her motorized chair, that lady was aggressive. She needed not to be there. And it's almost like the security guards from Scientology were letting her be aggressive, like letting her take the fall. Yeah, she was. Do you think the third party security might be Scientology, a Scientology company? I don't know about more aggressive. I don't know, Susie. I mean, that chick, that security chick, was definitely more aggressive, but the Sciento, Odo, and Jason and them, they're not getting more aggressive. Yeah, I think it's probably a good thing right now that Scotty's not there, that DOA's not there, um, to light the fire under Moore. I think it's a good thing that right now it's just a select few that are going over there and burning their biscuits and being like little gnats. Hi, Victoria. How are you doing? So the pressure's still being put on, but it's not super volatile. You know, it, I think it needs to go more like in a wave. I think, let it go a little bit. Let them think that they're winning, but they're not. But everything is just getting, it's like nitpick, nitpick, nitpick back and forth. And that's the way it's going to be for a while. Yeah, those planners are just freaking crazy. I agree. They're stupid. You know darn well what they're there for. It's not like they don't have the money to do it though. It's just it, it's a gnat tactic, just like we're doing to them, like the protesters are doing to them. Pick, 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 pick. It's the same way in reverse. That's what they're doing to the protesters. They are a terrible eyesore, and they truly are. I mean, they're legal by looking at the sidewalk. Hey, ham it up again. How are you doing, baby? By looking at that sidewalk and looking at the sidewalk orders for the Los Angeles area, they're legit. They can be there. The problem is that where they've got them in the easement, you can't get the passengers the passenger doors open. And so you're impeding on traffic. And on the other side, they're into where they're near the red lanes, the red lines, and then also impeding traffic flow. But per the sidewalk ordinance stuff, they're legit. Did you take off Ham It Up again? Or are you still down in California? They called the cops on you today, pup groomer? Who was with you out there? Was that Jay that also went to the Vegas one? Oh no, well DOA was out there also, if I remember right. You can do. Wow. Did you get it on tape? Did you get it on video? Yeah, I'll have to go watch it if you did. Hey, Adira. I know I went through that would be really scary. I have to admit that, especially like being swatted. Oh my gosh, I would probably piss myself. I'd be so scared. I'd have a hard time, probably just for the first couple of times of being assertive with a police officer, because I just grew up that you say yes or no, sir. Yeah, so pub groomer, are you by yourself now? You're the only one doing it? Yeah, I'll go back and watch it this morning, from this morning. Hey, Teresa. Good evening to you also. Yeah, that's just freaky when they come out and they do the police do stuff like that. Did they get Were they upset with you? And is there a complaint form that any of us can do? How can we help with that? Yeah, Vegas used to be my stomping ground from when I lived in Alaska. We used to go down there all the time for different reasons, though. But oh, they were cool with you. Oh, good. Okay. My shoulders are feeling a little bit better. They are at least are not shooting pains down my arms anymore. Now I just need to get some strength back in them so that way I'm able to do everything independently again. My son's still helping me getting in and out of bed just so that way I don't yank them and tear them more. Um, but at least I have the pain under control, which is a huge step. So thank you for asking and thank you for saying that, Teresa. Yeah, this has been a total nightmare having my shoulders messed up like this. I want to get over to Grand Rapids. Well, I'd love to go down to Detroit. And John Poe and I, Poe on the Go, because he lives right near the Detroit org. But I guess they're having that grand opening and the remodel for the Grand Rapids one, and I'd love to get over there. So I might the next week or so. It's supposed to be really nice next week. How in the world? Okay, so Pup Groomer just said the only thing is one tried to tell me that my flyers were destruction of government property. I've already gone through the statutes with my lawyer, so I'm in the clear. How is that destruction of government property? Did they try and explain it to you? I was so many people are having shoulder issues and it's not just me, and I kind of felt bad because the other Mona in John Poe, she's always in there, Mona Engbert, and it I guess she was in the ER yesterday for tearing her shoulder also. I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Yeah, that's one of the things that we put in our OIG meeting when Audit and Michael and Serge and I went. It it sounds like they're just talking out their ass, huh? Sorry, out their butt. They just had some gravy on their biscuits. So one of the things, one of our proposed things was that going in and doing training with the LAPD for their new recruit academy. And I've finally got a hold of um, the training department, and I'm supposed to call them next week to start talking about that. Of course, I can't do the training. Audit or somebody from down there would have to do that. But there's nothing saying that any of you that are near a large city, kind of like Vegas, calling their training department and saying, "Hey, we'd like to come in and do a training, whether it's an hour or 2 hours, to talk about working with victims of cults, people that are escaping cults." I know Sir Crepitus and I had talked before in Poe on the Go, since they were both police officers, and when they come out for a call, they have no idea who the people are or what they've been through. And so when they're out there for a call, a service call, that's not the first thing on their mind. But if they're out there for protesters or for a noise ordinance, at least it would give them a heads up on how to treat and handle people, especially those that have come out of a cult or have been human trafficked. Okay. Just got a text from Poe. There was a thing on the news tonight saying there was a um, mass shooting in Rochester Hills, which is down near down near where he lives. It's 9 people were shot. That's pretty wild. Yep, down near Detroit. Did you see that, Mandy? Yeah, it's splash pad. That's what it was. That's here. There, I'll text him back and tell him where it was because he just said, what? He didn't hear about it. So, a SWAT situation with a person in a wheelchair, one, especially somebody that can't stand, or like Audit, who she can stand, but not for very long, and she uses a motorized chair. They would come and they would do. Have you ever seen somebody get searched at the airport from TSA? They basically go head to toe. They touch your breasts, they touch your buns and everything else. They pat everything down. I used to do the training for TSA and for the police department where I lived, and they would just pat down your chair, make sure that you don't have anything on you, the same as somebody else. Um, but they can't make you get on the ground because you can't get on the ground. It is an ambulance, somebody that can walk a little bit. Yep. Yeah, it can be pretty crazy. And then it's like as I said with my younger sister who had cerebral palsy, for a long time she used a chair, but before that she didn't. And she always looked drunk when she walked because she was very unsteady on her feet. And when she talked, she slurred. So she was always getting told, "Oh, you're," I mean, she's only a couple years younger than me, but they'd say, "Oh, that girl's drunk," and I'm like, "No, she's not." And I have plenty of friends because that's she hung out with a lot of people with that. Well, if a wheelchair would be a sign, but two, if somebody had a cane, then that could, the officers should do that. A cane could also be used, and I've seen it used as a weapon, unfortunately. So most of the time, an officer should ask if they have the mobility to get on the ground, to sit on the ground, or to sit somewhere. If they don't, then I mean, there's just no way. My thought was, okay, so this is just the bad Mona thinking here is that if I was Audit, I'd be just going back and forth. Let them call the cops. First of all, they have to have an accessible vehicle to take her to the police station. And I bet you they don't have an accessible vehicle. Yeah, should is a key word there. I agree, Susie. That's always cracked me up. Well, I'm glad that being deaf or hard of hearing is one of the hardest disabilities to deal with, especially with law enforcement, because they think you're ignoring them. And they hardly ever call an interpreter like they're supposed to. And then they assume that the person that's deaf or hard of hearing can read lips. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. I don't think the Scientology vans are wheelchair accessible. Are they, Teresa? Have you ever seen a lift on one? I don't even think people with disabilities and people in wheelchairs are even invited into the org. Yeah, I have a lot of friends that are deaf, and I know very limited sign language. But Yeah, that's nice. Do you do any ASL at all? But even that, even just being hard of hearing, if you don't understand, I mean, in the wrong language, I mean, people don't know, but if you don't understand what they're yelling at you, especially when there's so much commotion and stuff going on, it's hard to pick out. Yeah, it's hard to pick out what somebody's saying in a group when you're hard of hearing. And if you don't have direct communication, if you have law enforcement and you have protesters screaming, that would be really, really hard. That would be a hard situation. And then to try and have to obey commands of a police officer when you can't hear him to begin with, that just puts you in the bad situation. That always makes me wonder, especially the big, like the campus riots that are going on. If, yep, a blind person could be too. That's what, they're supposed to have signage. And I know when Audit goes over there to do her ADA accessibility on the road closures and the sidewalk closures, they're supposed to have alternative signage on those sidewalks. And they're supposed to have, if they have the chirps going on at the crosswalk. I saw that, Mandy. There is education. Every state has um, an ADA, a disability, a DIPTAC, Disability and Business Technical Assistance Center. And businesses that are intrigued or want to know or want the education can go to them for free. And they did just change the service dog, the ADA service dog laws. Um, but they've always been a service dog. I mean, you can't ask if it's a service dog. You can't ask. You can ask. Yeah, that's total discrimination. I'd definitely go straight to the Department of Justice for that. You can ask if it's a service dog and what the dog does. You can't ask about the disability. And I worked for the ADA for many years, and that's what I did is I was a DIPTAC director. And so exactly, you can ask what task they perform for you. Um, but if it's a person that's blind, then you're not even supposed to ask. I mean, because a blind a dog that serves a blind person is usually pretty obvious. And everybody's, oh, they've got to have coats, they have to have designation, they have to have a service vest. No, they don't. You know, honestly, I used to have a service dog. She was a Bichon Shih Tzu, and so she was only about 8 pounds. She was just a curly little thing, but she would let me know if I was going to have a seizure. Exactly, Mandy. I mean, come on, let's get real. If somebody's blind and they have a dog with them with a dog harness, duh. I mean, that was total discrimination. Anyways, so I would take her with me, and she actually walked underneath my chair with me everywhere I went. And I'd take her even on the planes or into restaurants and all of that because for a while I had seizures problems from my accident. And in you do not have to have a certification. There is no you can get a dog certified. You can. There are specific breeds that will be trained as guide dogs, but there is no federal certification and there is no state certification that's necessary. The, so if somebody asks you, where's your certification? Nope, you do not. That is a complete myth. That's something that, correct. The ADA does not require formal training required. You can train your own dog as long as that dog is trained to do tasks for you. I have, well, I jokingly call my dog now my self-service dog because I say, "Oh, go get that," and she goes, "Get it yourself." So I have a self-service dog. But my other dog, if I need for him to sit by my chair, he holds my chair for me. So that way it doesn't move. Like if I'm in the bathroom or if I'm trying to get in and out of bed on my own, he'll sit and hold my chair stable for me until I tell him he can leave. The, correct. Yes, a service dog is um, was at a conference one time for an ADA event, and there was a guy that had his dog in there, and of course, the dog supposedly was trained, and there's no paperwork, whatever. Nobody's going to ask. We're in an ADA conference. Dog went over and helped himself to donuts off the buffet line. It was funnier than hell. Yeah, paperwork is a myth. IDs and paperwork is a myth, and having to have a vest is a myth. But it does cause problems when people dishonestly say that they have a service animal just to take them into Walmart with them or wherever, and they're really not. It does cause problems because it does cause trust issues. They do. Yep, they do. That's funny. She was just natural at it. I didn't train her. She would just know when I was going to have a seizure, and she'd jump up on my lap and on my chest, and she'd start licking me. So I knew I had a seizure coming on. She just did it. There are dogs that are trained for that. Um, Yep, there are dogs. There are dogs that smell cancer. There are dogs that do that. Um, I don't know how she knew it. She just did. And at that time, for a long time, I had a really bad head injury, and for a long time, I had seizures issues. I haven't had a seizure, thank goodness, in probably 10 years now. Yeah, it's pretty amazing how they can see that. They can sense it. Mandy, love to you too. Thank you so much for talking with us. So, Pup Groomer, you have a pity? I agree with you, Kathy. That's what makes it so hard, is because of the trust. And so it's hard for when people really do have legit dogs. My problem with my little one is when I stopped having seizures, and she started to get to where she hated to be on the planes with me. She would just start shaking, and just it really stressed her out. So I quit taking her places. That's true. That is how they figure it out. And I've been around dogs that naturally scent diabetic changes, and that's very common. Aw, sweet. Those are my two hounds on my profile pic. My boy is about 210 pounds and my girl's 180. Yeah, it's pretty cool how dogs can definitely. I know my daughter's dog is it's, you can tell when people are having sugar issues. So it's pretty wild that dogs are so sensitive. You can probably hear him snoring on my bed. He likes to sleep at my feet. Takes up half my darn bed though. Is that your only dog pup groomer, or do you have others that you're training? So are you guys ready for a whole nother week? A whole nother slew of different problems, different, I shouldn't say problems, but different issues. Last week was mighty crazy. I have several, yeah. I hope it's less draining also. You know, we've got Summer Solstice coming up next Friday. So that's the longest sunlight day of the year. That'll be really nice. But then it's always kind of a bummer because the days start to get shorter again. But I'm really hoping that after all of the hoopla last week, we all start having less drama, a little more insight on where we need to go. Maybe we had a little bit of drama bonding that happened, and we can all get back on the right path of taking down Scientology, because that's what all of our goals are. We're all in it for the same ultimate reason. We're all doing different things in different ways. Yeah, I think so too. I would love to see um some tents put up in between, some little pup tents put up in between the planters, just for the ha-has of it. Just saying, maybe I'm like poking the bear, but that would be just funny. I don't think they're going to, but yeah, it would make me laugh. Do you guys catch that the Poe on the Go and Sister Steph and Feral Cheryl last night? Oh my gosh, my gut was hurting from laughing so hard. That was so funny. Really needed that humor. There you go. Two-story planters. You know, who said that? On one of the live streams today, I've been watching way too many YouTube live streams. Somebody said, you know, you need to start, go grab some seeds and plant food for the unhoused and all those planters. That would be a hoot. Yeah, what could they say if they what could they say if they built a little fort over the planters? If that's all it is just dirt in there. Yeah, right. I know. Farrell and them talking, that was funny. The book of the diabetics book. If you can't laugh, you'd cry, right? You have to be able to laugh about things. Sometimes I'm a little inappropriate in my laughter, but you know, whatever. How does that saying go? Miracle grow the seeds. Yeah, right. And see, that would be kind of a hoot if you'd put some watermelon seeds in there and carrots. What else would be good? Lettuce, something that grows really fast. Carrots take a little longer, but that would be kind of cool. Maybe pop in a couple of lemon trees. I have no idea about lemons and avocados and all that, but I know they grow them down there. I mean, if they're going to be there, might as well get some use out of them. Veggie Tech. Yep, some squash. There you go. Whoever's down there, just go drop some seeds in there. Because somebody said that they were putting fake plants in there. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they get watered enough, but I will. Power Lies to Paralyze. I will be doing another corporate structure chat. I have something that, well, I've got two things that I've started. One I can't say anything about right now. It's in a clamp down cycle right now. And then the second thing is told everybody that I would rewrite that FBI complaint against the FBI for the Neverins, and I did do that. I sent in an initial complaint yesterday, and that is funny, Kathy. And I've given them till the 21st to respond to me about the complaint. And if response isn't heard by Friday, then it'll go out into a crowdsourced campaign. So I'll put it out for everybody next Friday if I don't hear from them. So I will be doing another corporate structure chat on what we need to do. Yep. That definitely could be a sign to fake plants for a fake religion. Somebody go post it out into one of the planters. Yeah, when we first started talking, when we were talking about that, the FBI just opened up a claim, an investigation against the two by two, the two something two church up in San Francisco. And the other day, yesterday, when I seen it pop up, definitely to emotional support animals. Heather, you're a rock star. You're the rock star. You're a good pup mommy. So the two by two church, anyways, I saw it pop up yesterday that the FBI was opening an investigation against a church for SA, for sexual abuse. And I thought, oh yes, they're taking us up on all the complaints. And I opened it up and okay, it's a good thing that it was against this other church, and it's a good thing that it's happening, but it's not the Church of Scientology, which is really a pisser. And so that's one of the things that I had put into the complaint yesterday, was that that with now we're over 200 people on Liz Gale's list of survivors of abuse from the Church of Scientology that are listed, that this should be enough. So, as I said, I given them till the 21st to respond. Talk about Rockstar. SCN will come. SCN, what, Scientology? You lost me on that one, Heather. Ham it up again, I'm sorry. The planters that are in the red zone are a fire violation. The planters that are in the easements that are not a fire code violation. The planters that are at the beginning and the end of L. Ron Hubbard Way that are blocking it for the events are fire code violations. So it depends on which ones. Yeah, we all just need to give them hell. We all just need to be like little gnats. Thanks for joining us, Susie. See you tomorrow if you're live. I'll be on yours. Yeah, it's been a little bit over an hour, you guys, so I'm going to ham it up again. I'm hoping that you're going to stop and enjoy your puppies for a little bit. Okay, I'll catch you tomorrow, Susie. Thank you. And maybe give me a shout, ham it up again when you stop, and we can catch up on what happened the last couple of days. I'll be up for a good another hour or so. So, but I am gonna end the stream. Are there any other questions or anything else going on that you want to talk about? Thank you, you guys. I'm gonna sign off. I'll see you.